ladies and gentlemen, and all the others. This is Alex, W7FTM, along with Vicky, K8VKY. We will be your net control for the Saturday Night Trivia Net, number 158. That is a direct net, so all traffic should go through net control. Does anyone have any emergency traffic they were holding until the start of the net? If so, come now. If you do have an emergency at any time during the net, just say, break, break, identify your station, and we will come to your assistance immediately. The format of the net is live trivia. One random question will be read to each person who checks in. You'll have 4 answers to select from. And tonight's topic, American history, with July 4th coming up. I thought about doing this next Saturday, this kind of net next Saturday, and then I thought, well, on the East Coast there's only 1 hour of 4th of July net when this net starts, and it would be, so let's do it this week. Topic's American history, and the question of the night, do you support the flat tax, or do you prefer a different way to pay your taxes? I know some people would say no taxes at all, or go back to the way it was, or maybe a progressive income tax, maybe a tax on goods and services, which the people that bought the most and used the most services would pay the most, which makes sense, but let me know what you think about that. Anyway, let's see who's checked in so far tonight via the text and email line. We have German George in Scottsdale, Arizona, who plays by email, KJ6ARR. He got his correct by mail, and his answer to the do you support the flat tax was they want to tax flat tires. He's a little out in the desert a lot, so thank you, George. George in Calgary, Japan, JR2FJI. He might be here tonight. We'll see. I'll give him a chance to check in. Little Al in Monterey, California, N6MOT. Dave in Portland, Oregon, KK7HLD. Mike in San Diego, KN6MIK. Chris in Ancaster, Ontario, VE3RWJ. Victoria in Phoenix, KK7ABK. Roy in Blasdell, New York. How you doing, Roy? K8BYU. Scott, one of our facilitators in Jamestown, New York. N7FGP. Don, Kennebec, Washington. KR7ZRI West in Grants Pass, Oregon. KD6EIR. Alex in Pasadena, Texas. KD5AJZ. Patrick, Madison, Wisconsin. NT9A. Robert, Kelly Ridge, Australia. VK2DY. Let me drop it. Dennis in Wabash, Indiana, KD0TNB. Stephanie and Larry, Elk Grove, California, KN6JLW and KN6JLX. Nicholas in Madison, Wisconsin, W9MKE. Teresa, College Station, Texas, KD5MUX. Frank in Lancaster, New York, KC2JPQ. Andrew in Glen Burnie, Maryland, K6ADS. And Eva in Glen Burnie, Maryland, KC3ZLR. We also have Jose in Austin, Texas, KJ5MEL. Anyone else want to join us? We'll call sign phonetically twice and slowly, please.
Kilo Foxtrot 6 Hotel Delta Juliet. Kilo Foxtrot 6 Hotel Delta Juliet. Alpha 1 Foxtrot Romeo. Alpha 1 Foxtrot Romeo. AA1FR Jim, Japan, India Michael in Scarborough, Maine. Over.
Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel. Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel.
ZL6, ZL4, IX, in and out.
November Zulu 6 November. November Zulu 6 November. Kevin, Fukuoka, Japan.
And we'll hold up there. We also picked up Brent, Pensacola, Florida, KF6HTJ, Scarborough, Maine, AA1FR. Welcome to that, by the way, Jim. David, Owensboro, Kentucky, W9DWH. Looks like ZR4IX. I'm not sure if you want to try that call sign again. I think you were in and out, but we'll make sure. And Kevin in Conroe, NZ6N, and the ZR4 sign. Try it again.
Good afternoon from down here in ZL. Sorry, yeah, the call sign is ZL4 or ZL4 India X-ray. Zululand 4 India X-ray, and I'll be just listening. I'll be in and out. Back to net.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. Yeah, you just didn't come up in cures that, so you had to make sure and got you in and out. All right. Back to the top. Question tonight: do you support the flat tax, or a different way to pay your taxes? What say you, George in Kawagoe, Japan, GR2 FJI? Did you make it, George? GR2 FJI, I don't see him connected. We'll try one more time. Are you with us? No problem. We'll give him an in and out. Little Al in Monterey, California, N6MOT. How about Little Al, you support the flat tax or a different way to pay your taxes? I know I may have done this on the American History Net, on the other network some time ago, but I don't think I've asked it here yet. So what do you say? He texted me. He was all ready to go, and then I guess he fell asleep. Little Al, N6MOT. We'll come back to you later if you're not here. All right, then. Dave in Portland, KK7HLD. How are you? Hey, Dave, you support the flat tax, or would you pick another way to pay your taxes, if you have to pay them, of course?
This is KK7HLD, and I gotta say, no matter what you do or change, somebody's gonna complain, and the flat tax won't end up being a flat tax, and the fact I have nothing wrong with change, I don't trust the government to actually fix anything, so I guess no, I don't.
Okay, we'll leave you with up in the air. That's right. No taxes. Thanks. And Dave, now don't get political here. This net is never ever political. So thank you for that. And your question is, on what date did the Continental Congress actually vote for independence? Now this one comes up on nets often around the 4th of July. What date did the Continental Congress actually vote for independence? Was it A, July 4th, 1776? B, June 28th, 1776, C, July 2nd, 1776, or D, Juneteenth, 1876.
Since I can't remember what day it is or what yesterday was, I'm just going to be guessing, so I'll say B, even though I don't recall what the answer was. And no, of course, we would never get political, ever. KK7HLD, thank you very much there, Alex.
And thank you, Dave. It is the Continental Congress actually voted for independence on C, July 2nd, 1776, but they did the ceremony on July 4th, and, well, that's what we celebrate, obviously. Now, The birders say the 4th of July is the only time of the year Americans say the date and month in the correct order, but, the British, not you, Dave. Thanks. Mike in San Diego. Oh, wait a minute. I think Lilao just came in there. N6MOT, Lilao, Monterey, California. Are you with us? And do you support the flat tax or another way to pay your taxes?
Yes, I am here. I'm sorry. I had the volume down on the HT. Flat tax? I don't know. I think it might be a good idea. We should give it a try, I think. Anyway, I'm ready for a question.
All right, Lilao, I got you on maybe on that one. Your question is, what was the name of the tavern where the First Continental Congress met in Philadelphia? And everyone knows this. Well, what was the name of the tavern where the First Continental Congress met in Philadelphia? Because where else but a tavern should you meet when you're discussing government issues? Was it A, the City Tavern, B, Carpenter's Hall, C, Sam Adams Pub, or D, the all-you-can-eat Liberty Buffet? Where did they meet in Philadelphia?
Well, I'm thinking it was all-you-can-eat buffet. I think it's where they would probably be. But what was B? Can you give me that one again, B?
Yeah, since I kind of spit it out funny. Carpenter's Hall. Was it Carpenter's Hall? We're in Sam Adams' place. Obviously, I don't drink that beer. Or the all-you-can-eat Liberty Buffet.
Carpenter's Hall, just for the heck of it. I don't know why it sounds familiar to me, but, history in school, the last time I studied this stuff. So I'm going to go with B. I think that's Carpenter's Hall. Anyway, thanks for getting back to me. Sorry I missed it. And I'm glad to be here. N6MOT 73.
Thank you, Lilao, and you're correct. Yeah, Carpenter's Hall is where they is a tavern where the First Continental Congress used to meet in Philadelphia. You see, even back then they were doing that. Hey, we'll name this a Carpenter's Hall. Then when our wives call, or the wives ask where we were earlier, we can say we're at the Carpenter's Hall. It's like naming the pub the library. It's which they did over here in Tempe. Thank you, Lilao. You got it. And Mike in San Diego, KN6MIK. Do you support the flat tax, or would you prefer a different way to pay your taxes if you have to?
Good evening, Alex. Always a pleasure. KN6MIK, Mike here in San Diego. Well, if the government doesn't get involved after we initiate it, it'll probably be fine. But knowing what I know, it probably wouldn't stay that way. Go ahead, brother. Hit me.
Oh, you mean they might say, well, you're a little more flat taxy than these people over here, so, yeah, I see what you mean. It does kind of work that way, doesn't it? Your question is, which signer of the Declaration of Independence was the youngest? The youngest signer was it A, Thomas Jefferson, B, Edward Rutledge, C, John Adams, or D, Sam Adams?
I'm going to take A for some reason. Always a pleasure, Alex. KN6MIK. Back to you, sir.
Yeah, although he was a little younger than some of the founding fathers, Jefferson was, it was actually B, Edward Rutledge, which most people probably haven't heard of unless they really study the Declaration, was the youngest signer of it. He was 26 years old when he signed the Declaration of Independence. The only thing I was signing at 26 was speeding tickets, so that's my hats off to him. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Chris in Ancaster, Ontario, V3RWJ. All right, Chris, I know it's an American question, but support the flat tax or another way to pay your taxes, like maybe the way they do it up there, eh?
How about maybe no tax if you are making up to 30 grand, and a lot more tax if you're making over, 100. I think we got to tax the billionaires and more. Anyway, Now that everyone thinks I'm a socialist, I'm ready for my question.
Oh, come on, Chris, I don't think that, comrade. Your question is, which newspaper was the first to publish the Declaration of Independence? The first newspaper to publish it, was it A, the Saturday Evening Post, B, the New York Times, C, the Evening Post, or D, the National Enquirer, which also claimed the founding fathers were space aliens? What do you think, Chris?
I'm going to guess A.
To publish the United States Declaration of Independence. And by the way, immediately after they printed the Declaration, Colonial News Network denounced it as fascist and tried to change the narrative to Benjamin Franklin's colluding with French hookers. Yeah. That's CNN for you. Thanks. Thank you, Chris. Victoria in Phoenix, KK7AVK. Do you support the flat tax or another way to pay your taxes? Now, I know you're from Eastern Europe. It was done differently there, but what do you think of our system, or what would you prefer?
Good evening. This is Victoria, KK7AVK. I'm not exactly sure how the tax is in Europe, since I really didn't work there more than 1 year before I moved here, but I'm pretty sure it's flat tax. I think I support flat tax because I think obviously nobody should be getting cut, especially people at the top. I think they should be paying the flat tax, and maybe that suggestion about people making less than $30,000 is a good idea not to pay any tax. I mean, people that are on the very bottom should be given more of a break than the people at the top. So go ahead with the question.
And don't forget, there are many people making a lot of money off how figuring that taxes out. That would not be good for them either. So, of course, we don't care. But no. Your question, Victoria, is which signer of the Declaration of Independence famously said, "We must all hang together, or we will surely hang separately"? Pretty popular quote. Maybe you've heard that one before. Was that A, Chadwick Smith, also known as Hanging Chad? B, Thomas Jefferson, C, John Adams, or D, Benjamin Franklin?
All right, let's go with Bravo. Thanks, Alex. Have a good evening. KK7AVK, back to me.
The funny thing is about founding fathers questions, Thomas Jefferson usually comes up more than not. And in this case, though, it was Benjamin Franklin said, "We must all hang together, we will surely hang separately." So, very wise man when he wasn't playing with kites. Thank you. Victoria, Roy in Blasdell, New York, K8BY. How you doing, Roy? Good to see you early in the net. You support the flat tax, or would you prefer a different way to pay your taxes?
Well, if it would actually be a flat tax, but like somebody else said, the minute other people get involved, they'll start changing things again. So, God only knows.
Why, Roy, you don't trust our government? Yeah. I'll let that chat hang. Your question, Roy, is, in my many years, I have come to a conclusion that one useless man is a shame, two is a law firm, and three or more is a Congress. Who said that? A, John Hancock, B, John Adams, C, John Wayne, or D, John Belushi?
Oh, I believe it was John Adams. I'm not not sure, though.
Very good, Roy. You were probably at the speech, weren't you, when he was giving that speech? No, it was John Adams. So John Adams said that. You know, it's funny how that hasn't changed in 250 years. It still rings true today. Thank you, Roy. This is W7FTM along with K8VKY. You're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, and we're going to Scott in Jamestown, New York. One of our great facilitators, N7FGP. Okay, Scott, flat tax, or would you prefer a different way to pay since you have to one way or another?
Well, good evening, Alex and Vicki. I don't know. The system we have now is pretty broken. So, yeah, why not give it a shot? Give it a try. Thanks for doing the net.
You bet, Scott, and your question is, which signer of the Declaration of Independence represented South Carolina? And, as always, I did know this one. Is it A, Edward Rutledge, B, Button Gwinnett, C, George Walton, or D, Lindsey Graham? Man, that guy's been in office way too long. What do you...
I have no clue. I forgot I had to answer a question. We'll go with A.
Yeah, I guess you're in New York, so you shouldn't let anybody know you know that much about South Carolina, but you are correct. Yeah, Edward Rutledge, the youngest guy to sign the Declaration, represented South Carolina. Thanks. Thank you, Scott. You got it. Don, Kennewick, Washington, KI7, ZRI. Okay, Don, you probably heard this one before. You support the flat tax, or another way to pay your taxes, and come up with something creative. Go ahead.
Alex, taxation is theft, and so I'm against it, but then again, I don't want to end up in prison, so I pay it because they take it from me. So, like a flat tax, I think I'm fine with. It's easier, but like everyone says, it'll eventually be exactly what we have. So, give me that question there, Alex.
Well, Don, you're supposed to think you have choice. Yeah. Okay, and your question is, after remixing his "Si Se Puede" call to action as a campaign slogan, what president declared March 31st a federal commemorative holiday honoring Cesar Chavez, a known Cuban criminal and a woman abuser? Was that A, Bill Clinton, B, Barack Obama, C, Fidel Castro, or D, George W. Bush?
Because I can see all of them endorse it. Hey, actually, going back to that pub question, I think it was actually the Blue Oyster Bar as portrayed in the Police Academy. But let's go with Clinton.
Very good. All right, no, the correct answer here is, I can reach my bell in time. Correct answer is Barack Obama came up with the "Si Se Puede" call to action and made Cesar Chavez Day. So a lot has come out about him lately. All of a sudden everybody's abandoning him. So, thank you, Don. Thanks for playing. And say hi to Dorothy for me, Wes in Grants Pass, Oregon, KD6. You support flat tax, Wes, or a different way to pay your taxes, or maybe you don't pay. Oh, don't say that on the air.
Let's see. That's a hard one. I'd have to look at how it affected me, because we all vote for, how things affect us, right? We're not that altruistic, self-interest and all that. I'm kind of a low-income person now that I'm semi-retired, and I don't pay a heck of a lot of taxes. So changes would probably affect me negatively, so I'd say no. I don't have any accountants in the family, but if I did, I wouldn't want to put them out of work. for having to, sort out that insane tax code that we have. So, as many technology people say, complicated is better. Just kidding.
Yep, if you can't win them with, you dazzle them with, anyway, I won't go through the whole quote. Your question is, okay, this is an American question, not the Constitution, though. What's the name of the mountain valley on the Arizona-Utah border? What's the name of that mountain valley on the Arizona-Utah border? Is it A, the Monument Valley, B, Navajo Valley, C, Valley of the Falls, or D, a valley of the now dry Lake Powell?
Wow, you had to ask me a regional question. By the way, I logged into the Mesa repeater. I thought you'd be on there, but no, nothing going on over there. Let's see. I'm going to say the Navajo Valley. It sounds majestic. And the Lake Powell thing, that's a little too sad. So, anyways, wasn't his name John Wesley Powell? I like that. I like the sound of that. But let's go with Navajo Valley. How did I do? And thanks for doing the net. KD6 EIR, Grants Pass, Oregon.
I know you're coming in so clear tonight. I know I'm on the node, a clear node, but you sound good. Actually, it's Monument Valley is the name of the. It's on Navajo land, but it's Monument Valley, and yeah, you know about Lake Powell. It's kind of sad. John Wesley Powell, the great Colorado River explorer, who I won't tell the story again. People want to move on. Thank you, Wes. Alex in Pasadena, KD5 HZ. Alex, flat tax or something else? What do you think?
About the delay there. Just chose the time when my repeater decided to do its thing. Flat tax would be so simple, they'd screw it up. So the answer is no. They would just increase the complexity of even a flat tax. So I can't see where it would improve things at all. Just probably tax more poor people worse than we already do. So, yeah. What's my question?
Yeah, a lot of people have said, well, yeah, it would work, but the government will screw it up somehow. Not a good track record, huh? Of course, we had honest people. Okay, I won't go there. Your question is, what event triggered the start of the American Civil War in 1861, the war between the states? Was it A, the attack on Fort Sumter by the Yankees, B, the passing of the Emancipation Proclamation, C, General Grant running out of Jack Daniels due to the trade embargo in the South, it's made in Tennessee, or D, the assassination of Duke Ferdinand, a much-loved dog who was killed by the Yankees, which triggered a civil war.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know what to say. It's the first time I actually knew an answer to a history question. I should mark this on a calendar or something. Fort Sumter. I lived in South Carolina for a few years. They're so damn proud of that. Thanks, Alex. KD5AJZ, back to you.
And yeah, it's Fort Sumter. The Yankees attacked Fort Sumter. And I say war between the states because at the time it was legal for the states to pretty much do what they want. If they wanted to secede from the Union, they could. And the United States government said that, no, you can't do that. As I've explained before, a civil war is when two factions are fighting for control of a government or a country, not when one group wants to separate. See, so that's, anyway. But most of you know that. Thank you, Alex. You got it. Patrick in Madison, Wisconsin, NT9A. You support the flat tax. if it would work, or another way to pay your taxes.
It's a complicated state. No, I don't support the or something else. What's my question?
Thank you, Patrick. Got you down for no, and your question is, what was the estimated cost of the first organized Independence Day celebration in Philadelphia in 1777? Another one that everyone should know. A, $50, B, $1,000, C, the exact amount is unknown to historians, or D, 7 barrels of fireworks and one very brave goat.
I have no idea. Know how to begin to spin that dial to take the answer out of any of those. I'm assuming the fireworks and the goats $2 was an awful lot of money back then compared to what it is today, so I wouldn't be shocked if that were the answer. Yeah, well, $50. I might be wrong. Yeah, let's see how I back to you. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, well, this is one of those questions where they don't know. Yeah, the exact amount is unknown to historians. That cheap shot there, but that's true. It was a big celebration, but they don't know. They know what George Washington spent for his troops after the celebration, after they won the Revolutionary War. A lot of alcohol was drinking. Let's put it that way. But they don't know the amount on the celebration spent on the Independence Day celebration in Philadelphia. So there you go. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate you playing, buddy. Kelly, Australia, VK2DY. Used to live here, so I'm fair in asking you a American history question. But first off, do you support the flat tax or another way to pay your taxes, or however they do it in Australia?
Good afternoon, Alex. It's Robert, VK2DY. Well, the Australian tax system is pretty much similar with the levels and everything else to the U.S. tax system. That's the same. So I can't see the flat tax working because you're going to have to make an exception for people on the lower end, and then you're going to need to make more exceptions and more exceptions and more exceptions, and you'll never be able to get it to work properly through any parliamentary or congressional system. So, no, I don't support it. VK2DY.
Yeah, well, it'd be a certain percentage of your income. If you don't make that much, you wouldn't pay that much. If it was like 15%, or they would keep it that low. I kind of doubt it, but yeah, I see your point. All right. Oh, by the way, just a friendly 4th of July reminder. Absolutely no one is going to watch the videos of the fireworks you recorded on your phone. All right, just a friendly reminder to everybody on that. And your question, Robert, is, I sincerely believe that the principle of spending money to be paid by posterity under the name of funding is but swindling futurity on a large scale. A, Thomas Jefferson, B, John Quincy Adams, C, Abraham Lincoln, or D, Joe Biden?
VK2DY. I don't know this one. It sounds awfully much like a Thomas Jefferson thing. So, I guess I'm going to say that it's him, VK2DY.
Excellent Jefferson impression should have convinced you that, yeah, it was Thomas Jefferson, yeah. Said that in 1816, so this time it is Thomas Jefferson, and to have people that like that in government now would be, yeah. Thank you, Robert. Dennis in Wabash, Indiana, KD0TBN. Dennis, okay, flat tax, or you prefer a different way, or no tax at all if you can get away with it?
KD0TMB. Yeah, I gotta say, yeah, no taxes, that'd be great, but yeah, no, we all gotta pay our dues somehow. So, with the flat tax, no, I'm not a fan. Go ahead with your question, over.
Actually, the first 150 years of our existence, we had no taxes. It was all tariffs and import, we did on imports, taxes, all that. You know, other people paid for our country, but that's some say that wouldn't work now. I'm not so sure. Your question is, in 1985, this woman became the first woman to be elected chief of the Cherokee Nation, the second largest tribal nation in the U.S. What's her name? A. Wilma Mankiller. B. Stands with Fist. C. Betty Badmoon. Or D. Sally Lot Lizard. What's the name of the first woman to be elected chief of the Cherokee Nation?
No, definitely not D. No, not D. No. Funny though, but no. Gosh, you're gonna make me think on this one. 85. Oh, okay. Ay, caramba. I believe I want to go with C as in Charlie. Over.
Bad Moon Rising, Betty Badmoon. No, it's A. Wilma Mankiller was the woman's name. Now, the hard thing about this question is that none of those seem likely. That's and most people don't know it on top of that. But yeah, Wilma Mankiller. I think I've dated some of her relatives, but that's who she was. Thank you, Dennis. Let you check in tonight. Stephanie in Elk Grove, California, along with Larry in Elk Grove, California. KN6JLW, KN6JLX. Okay, flat tax, different way to pay your taxes. What's your preference, guys?
Hey, Alex, it's Larry, KN6JLX, along with Stephanie, KN6JLW, and yeah, I would go with the flat tax or just a sales tax. Go ahead with our question.
All right, guys, got you down for yes, and your question is, which U.S. territory held a vote in 2012 where most people supported becoming a state? Was it A, Guam, B, Puerto Rico, C, Canada, or D, Florida?
Okay, Alex, I'm going to go Guam. Stephanie's going to go Puerto Rico. Thanks for doing the net, and we'll talk to you next week.
Kentucky and Canada. Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it's actually Puerto Rico. Yep. Yep, Stephanie got that one. Puerto Rico held a vote in 2012 where most of the people supported becoming a state. And as far as you, Florida, not yet. Keep trying, though. We'll eventually let you in. Nicholas, Madison, Wisconsin, W9MKE. You support the flat tax or a different way to pay your taxes? What say you, Nicholas?
Hey, good evening, Alex. Thanks for doing the net. Interesting questions. The thing about the flat tax is kind of a misnomer on that because sounds good on paper, but I don't think it would work out too well. 15% taxes for somebody who's making $25,000 a year hits them a lot harder than it hits somebody who's making $1 billion a year. So yeah, it's not exactly helpful to people who are making much, and even to middle class people, working class. I think somebody else said that, you know, they don't trust the government, but you know who you shouldn't trust is Wall Street. They really want to screw you over. So that's you know, say what you want, but I don't really think people should be making billions of dollars. That's not something that we need in this world, because you can't take it with you, right, after you die. So anyway, no, I think that people that are getting away with loopholes and not paying their fair share are the ones that need to be paying higher taxes, and the rest of us who are working hard and getting screwed over by them should be getting some relief. So that's what I think. What's my question, Alex?
You bring up a good point. Unfortunately, there are corrupt people in both government and private business, and it's isn't the method, it's the people involved. Why is that? How do they get in there? So your question, Nicholas, is the First Amendment establishes separation of church and state. Is that A, true, and B, false? C, only for Christians, or D, only for the southern states?
That is a, I believe, let's see, a First Amendment, it's freedom of speech, so I don't think that's freedom of religion, but, so I'll say no, it's false, but I could be completely wrong on that. Anyway, thanks, send it back to you, W9MK.
Actually, in kind of a roundabout way, you got it correct. Yeah, it's false. The First Amendment establishes separation of church and state. No, it just says that Congress can choose a national religion. To it, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Many states at the time had their own official religion, and the amendment was a way to make sure the feds couldn't come in and override them. So it was all about state rights back then, as it still should be. Thank you, Nicholas. This is W7FTM, along with KVKY. You listen to the Eastern A Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, and we go to Teresa in College Station, Texas, K5MUX. Flat tax, another tax, or what do you say?
This is KE5MUX, and you know, what they've got going doesn't exactly work right now as it is. I'd hate to see how bad they screw something up, something new. Well, let's just kind of go with what we got. What's my question, sir?
Oh, another reminder. I wanted to make sure everyone knows. This 4th of July, it's important to remember that calling all Americans the Yanks, for you foreigners out there, is a racist stereotype. We have rednecks and hillbillies here, too, so. Your question is, what was the name of the first U.S. Constitution, the first United States Constitution? Was it A, the Articles of Confederation, B, the Federalist Papers, C, the Rough Draft, or D, the United States Quick Start Guide?
As much as I'm a fan of the Quick Start Guide, I think it was the Articles of Confederation. Thanks for doing the net. 730 KE5MUX.
Miss, correct. Yeah, the Articles of Confederation. Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate you being here. Frank in Lancaster, New York, KC2JPQ. All right, Frank, what do you think? Flat tax? It could be done, honestly. Or another way, would you prefer to pay your taxes other than the current system?
Good evening, Alex and Vicki and everybody on the net. Put me down for a no on that flat tax. I don't know if it's better
but I'm not how's that? I'm ready for my question. Back to you, Alex.
All right, Frank, got you down for a no, and your question is, I think you've been around this long, Frank, but what unusual item did U.S. President Calvin Coolidge like to have rubbed on his head each morning? Yep, Calvin Coolidge like to have rubbed on his head each morning. Was it A, olive oil, B, Vaseline, C, a copy of the Bill of Rights, or D, possum fat? Come on, Frank, everyone knows this.
You're laughing over here. Can you give me the choices again?
Sure, a lot of people do this. Was it A, olive oil, B, Vaseline, C, a copy of the Bill of Rights, or D, possum fat? Do you like having rubbed on his head each morning, old cow?
Okay, Alex. I'm going to say A, alpha. And good talking to you. Good job on the net. And I'll send it back to the net, KC2JPQ.
Well, Frank, you and me prefer olive oil, but in his day it was Vaseline that he liked to have rubbed on his head each morning. At the time, petroleum jelly was sold as a hair tonic and skin moisturizer. The partially bald Coolidge used it religiously. I don't know if it helped or not, but anybody else use Vaseline on their head? Thank you. Thank you, Frank. Andrew, Glen Burnie, Maryland, K680S. Welcome back to the net, and tell me, you support the flat tax, or would you prefer a different way to pay your taxes?
Thank you, Net Control. Appreciate you having me. One minor correction there. The Cherokee Nation is actually larger than the Navajo Nation now. So I support a flat tax for citizens, and I support for corporations. But I would also prefer and like to see income tax be sunsetted as it was originally intended. I believe it started from World War II or World War I, before there was no income tax. And it was intended that after the war ended, or that war ended, that it would sunset. And then our people, in their infinite wisdom, just wanted to keep it around. So here we are. Thank you very much. Back to Net Control, K680S.
Yeah, and as you know, Andrew, the funny thing is about every tax is supposed to be sunsetted or dropped after a while. It never is. I mean, rarely, but not too many lately. Thank you for that. And I didn't know the Cherokees outgrew the Navajos, but I thought we still had the biggest Native Americans over here group anyway. So your question is, which of the following statements about George Washington is true? A, he was one of the best generals the country has ever had, winning almost all the battles he fought in. B, he was one of the worst generals the country has ever had, losing almost all the battles he fought in. C, he always carried his lucky pair of false teeth in a battle. Or D, he's a distant relative of Vicky, K8VKY. Which one of those is true?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one without opening up the infinite wisdom of Google. I don't think he won every single battle, and I don't think he lost every single battle. And with the perspective I have for Vicky, I'm going to say maybe she's a daughter of what's that organization? Daughter of the Founding Fathers or something like that? I'm going to have to go with that. What was that, D? Back to you, Net Control, K680S.
Daughters of the Revolution. I don't know. Maybe she is. I'll have to ask her, but it's... No, George Washington, it's B. You're right. He didn't win all the battles, but he actually lost almost all the battles he fought. And his near-perfect record of defeat and retreat stretched back to his pre-Revolutionary War days. Now, he was a good leader in other ways, as far as generals go. what he did do is he got lucky on the battles that counted, and that's what people remember him as. So thank you, Andrew. You thought that through. Very well. Eva, Glen Burnie, Maryland, KC3, ZLR. Tell us, do you support the flat tax, or you prefer a different way to pay your taxes?
Hi, this is KC3ZLR, and I would just say to do flat taxes. So.
Thank you, Evie. Well, you work with people up there in Maryland. You don't have to worry about a lot of... I'm just kidding. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I live in the very poorest part of Scottsdale, Arizona. You know, people think it's a wealthy area. Nope. Your question is, during Prohibition, what loophole did you use to legally provide alcohol to patients? Yep, they had a loophole. Was it A, saying the alcohol was for cleaning purposes, B, saying the alcohol was for medicinal purposes, C, renaming it vitamin A, or D, calling it Granny Clampett's rheumatism medicine? How did they legally provide alcohol to patients back then?
I'm going to say probably not C. So, I think it's A, alpha.
I don't know how they got away with it, but yeah, during Prohibition, the doctors would provide alcohol to patients by saying the alcohol was for medicinal purposes. B, you can. It's okay if it's medicinal purpose. Of course, a lot of people started having ailments about then, and I think the Jewish people, they could get it if ceremonial wine for religious reasons, but it was for medicinal purposes, which is why a lot of us use it to this day. Thank you, Eva. Jose in Austin, Texas, KJ5MEL. Welcome back, buddy. Do you support the flat tax, or would you prefer a different way to pay your taxes?
CQ, this is KI5WPX.
Hang on, we'll take more check-ins a few minutes here. KG5MEL, are you with us?
Yeah, how are you tonight?
Well, the question tonight is, do you support the flat tax or a different way to pay your taxes?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't really pay taxes right now.
Is this KJ5MEL, Jose? I didn't think so. One more time, KJ5MEL. All right, maybe later. However, if you want to check in later and get give us your call sign and play the trivia net, please do. Otherwise, get the hell out of here. Brent, Pensacola, Florida, KF6HDJ. Hello, Brent. Okay, flat tax.
Well, good evening, Alex, Vicky, and the rest of the net. Well, I enjoyed not paying taxes while I was an overseas contractor, so I'm going to go with no tax. Back to you for my question.
The old-fashioned way, tariffs and, might work. Your question is, here we are. In In 1946, President Harry S. Truman signed the National Mental Health Act. The National Mental Health Act he signed. Which government institute was formed as a result of the act? Was it A, the National Institute of Mental Health, B, the American Institute for the Mentally Challenged, C, the American Psychiatry Foundation, or D, Congress? What was formed after they signed the National Mental Health Act?
Oh, it sounds too official, but I'm going to have to go with A. And you know what they say, Alex? That if you think the problem is bad now, just wait until we've solved it. Have a great evening. Thanks for doing the net. KF6HDJ, back to net control.
They don't want the problems to get better. It's kind of like mainstream medicine. Probably shouldn't go there either. Thank you, Brendan. You are correct. Yeah, it's the National Institute of Mental Health. They were into clever acronyms or clever things to call your organization back then. That was pretty straightforward. Thank you. Thank you, Brendan. Jim in Scarborough, Maine, AA1FR. Welcome to the net, Jim. I'm glad you can make it. Do you support the flat tax or another way to pay your taxes? What do you say?
Hello. Yeah, Jim, AA1FR, just south of Portland, Maine, the other Portland, actually the first Portland, I guess. Well, about the tax, relatively recently, I've been listening on the EEV blog. It's called the Electronic Engineer video blog from Dave Jones in Australia, and he says he pays 10% of his income, and that covers all medical costs. I think that would be a really great tax. I would gladly pay 10% of my income and not have to worry about doctor's fees and getting, thrown out of my house or something because I can't afford an operation. So anyway, that's about the tax. And also, somebody else just mentioned, that was funny, that the income tax is temporary. Also, the Gulf tax was temporary. It gave 5 cents in every gallon of gasoline. Not sure if that's still there, but I believe it is. Anyway, I did not like history in high school. It was just memorizing names and dates. And I don't like the way ham radio license stuff is. Just memorizing stuff instead of knowing it. So this history stuff is neat. My wife, who's unfortunately in bed right now, was involved with a lot of Maine stuff and the British colony things and the business they did over here. So I like history that way. I wish it was taught that way. Anyway, I'll give it back to Net, and I'll take a question I will surely miss.
I'll think positive, Jim. And you're in the Portland that you can actually go downtown and walk around with. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make fun of Portland, Oregon. All right, Jim, your question. Your question is, after the Battle of San Jacinto during the Texas Revolution, and right after the Battle of the Alamo, Mexican General Santa Anna escaped and was found the next day wearing civilian clothes. Why wasn't he in uniform? A, he was trying to disguise himself as a peasant to escape capture. And B, he sent his uniform to the local Chinese laundry to be cleaned after he soiled it when the Texans arrived. C, he was having relations with a young senorita when the Texans arrived. Or D, he always dressed in civilian clothes since Mexican military uniforms had too many food stains. What do you think the correct answer is there, Jim?
Well, I like the C thing with the senorita, but I thought they moved the Alamo. Anyway, I'll go C for now, just for fun. Over.
Well, Santa Anna was certainly having fun. You're correct. He was having relations with a young senorita when the Texans arrived, and he wasn't expecting our guys to reorganize quickly after the loss of the Alamo. And there they were. Yeah, the Battle of San Jacinto, by the way, was the most lopsided victory in U.S. history, with Santa Anna being Yeah, about the only one that in the Mexican side that scored that day. So it's yep, surprised the heck out of him. Thank you. And I forgot to mention the 16th Amendment and what you said earlier also wasn't ratified by Congress. It didn't have the majority of votes, but it was passed. But that's another can of worms for another night. Thank you, Jim. David in Owensboro, Kentucky, who I'm sure knew that. W9DWH. All right, Jim. Flat tax, different way of taxing. What do you say?
Okay, there we go. Had to let you know just a little top of the hour spiel there. If they could figure out how to do it, which I doubt, the flat tax would be nice, and we wouldn't have to, pay, these tax, out the wazoo to get our taxes done.
Yeah, a lot of good ideas on the table, but implementing them is, a challenge. And your question, David, is what was the original capital of the United States? A, Baltimore, Maryland. B, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. C, Boston, Massachusetts. Or D, York, Pennsylvania.
I thought it was a capital U. I don't know, so I'm going to go with Philadelphia and see what happens. As always, thanks for running the net, Alex. Hope to catch everybody next week. W9, you bet.
Well, David, I would have said Philadelphia. I kind of thought it was, but no, it was York, Pennsylvania was actually the original capital, not New York, York, Pennsylvania, the original capital of the United States. So, I guess you have to know these things when you're a trivia king. Thank you, David. All right, ZR4IX, if you're with us, I'm not sure if you're in and out or not, but if you are, I don't know how they do it in New Zealand, but do you support the flat tax or a different way to pay taxes?
Question.
That's okay. I think you may have been in and out anyway. And yes, I believe the question, almost at the end of it, the list, if you want to check in then a little bit more.
E5EGD with a question.
Sorry, Alwyn, go ahead.
Okay, trying to make this quick. I think there was 26 people that signed the Declaration of Independence, and they all they killed a lot of them. A lot of them died, and they lost their families, their homes, their money. Is that still the truth?
From what I understand, but again, I'd have to research that. So anyway, Alwyn, hang on. We'll get to the end. We'll put you on the list if you like a trivia question in a minute. So hang on. Kevin in Conroe, Texas. 6 in. You support the flat tax or another way to pay your taxes?
Just Conroe currently in. Won't be answering that particular question, but looking forward to the next one. Over.
Yeah, that's cool. If you don't want to play within the parameters of the net, we don't care. I'm just kidding. You're new, so we'll let it slide. Kevin, your question is, In 1701, this colony separated itself from Pennsylvania. Which colony are we talking about? A, the Delaware colony, B, the Rhode Island colony, C, the Amish colony, or D, the leper colony that became Washington, D.C.? Which of those is true?
I love those particular antics. I'm going to have to go with A, and going to go down and get me some ramen here in just a bit. Just know that American history isn't really my strong suit, and hoping for the best. And it says 6N. Take care.
Colony was one that separated itself from Pennsylvania. There wasn't a Delaware until 1701, and that's how that came about. Thank you. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate you being here. I'm glad you could make it. Yeah, that's it. Fred in Reno, Nevada, K7FPS. Hey, welcome back, Fred. Again, flat tax or another way to pay your taxes. You may have answered it on the American History Net, but what do you say here?
I'd say something else, Alex. Flat tax just won't work. And I'm out at a field day thing, and the Clear Node just rebooted, and I'm back on the air. K7FPS, and thank you for logging, Vicky. Back to you, Alex.
Thank you, Fred. Glad you could make it back in time for the net. Your question is, and Dr. Mary Edwards Walker was the first woman to be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor for her work as a surgeon during the Civil War. She was also arrested for A, wearing men's clothing, B, public intoxication, C, smoking, or D, swearing. What did they arrest the heroic woman for?
Could I have the answers again, please, Alex? K7FPS.
No problem. Dr. Mary Edwards Walker, I'll go through it again, the first woman to be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor for her work as a surgeon during the Civil War, was arrested later for A, wearing men's clothing, B, public intoxication in public, C, smoking, or D, swearing.
I think I'm going to go with Delta on that one, Alex. I was vacillating between Charlie and Delta. I'm going to go with Delta on that one, Alex. Back to you. Thank you for running the net, K7FPS.
I don't know if they could arrest women. They probably could. They could arrest them for anything. It was actually wearing men's clothing is what she was arrested for. Yeah, they didn't conduct that in those days, so to speak. Now, she wasn't a lesbian or a tranny. She just found ladies' clothing at the time too restrictive and uncomfortable, so I can see her point. Thanks. Thank you, Fred. Lynn in Sylvania, Ohio, KF8 EJA. Welcome back, Lynn, and tell me, do you support the flat tax, or would you prefer pay your taxes a different way, pennies at a time, or anyway, what do you say?
KF8EJA, yeah, bring in sacks of pennies if you can find enough. No, I kind of agree with the earlier person who commented about that wouldn't really be fair to particularly to folks in the lower income areas. I think it'd be much better if everybody just paid their fair share. Sorry, I lost my push to talk. A fellow named Al Newhart was the original publisher of the USA Today. Give me a second. And he wrote a editorial every Friday, if I remember correctly. He's been dead for several years. But at some point he reported that he was proud to say that he achieved the milestone of paying $1 million in taxes making, the more money Uncle was making, and that was just fine with him. Ready for my question, KF80JA. Thanks for doing the net again.
Yeah, there's some people that look at it that way. They pay their fair share. That's, yeah, I guess the interpretation of that is where the crux of the matter lies. Anyway, your question, man. What was Operation Condor? Operation Condor in the United States, of course. A campaign of political repression by the right-wing dictatorships of South America that was financed covertly by the U.S. by U.S. environmentalists to save the endangered California condor. C, a plan to stop airline passengers from bringing carry-on luggage. D, the second track of side one of the Simon and Garfunkel Bridge Over Troubled Water album. What was Operation Condor?
All four of those sound slightly bogus to me. I'm gonna go with Bravo. Go with Bravo. Thanks again for doing the net, and glad to have Vicky back. Thanks, Vicky, for doing the logging. KF80JA.
You never heard the second track on the side one of Simon and Garfunkel's Bridge Over? No, that wasn't it. That was El Condor Pass. It's A. Actually, Operation Condor was A campaign of political repression by the right-wing dictatorships of South America, and that was financed covertly by the U.S. back in the 80s? I'm trying to remember, but yeah. You don't hear about that one too much. You hear about Iran-Contra, and you hear about other things the CIA was involved in, but that's not that one so much. Hey, thanks, Lynn. It's a W7FTM along with K8VKY. You're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, going to Craig in Antioch, Illinois, KD9UQE. Welcome to the net, Craig, and tell me, do you support the flat tax, or would you prefer a different way to pay your taxes?
KD9UQE. Alex, I'm going to have to say no to the flat tax. I appreciate all the ways us oppressed proletariats can pay, significantly less tax than is due, and generally only have to pay for about half the rum.
Hey, got you down as a no on that one. Thank you. Thanks, Craig. And your question is, when Washington drove the British from Boston, he moved his army to New York. After liberating New York, they tore down a statue of King George in the city square and did this to it. What did they do to that statue? A, they urinated on it. B, they used to block the British advance in New Jersey. Big statue, I guess. C, they melted the statue down and used it to make musket balls to fire back at the British. Or D, they were forced to put the statue back up due to Antifa protesters. Which one of those actually happened?
Oh, goodness. I'm prepared to take the extra exam now. Boy, A and D are just ridiculous. I'm going to have to go with, being a Mason. They most definitely had a masonry statue. So they used British. I'm sure I got it wrong, but I'm going with B, Alex.
Just apparently it was made of some kind of metal, and perhaps maybe. Yeah, no, they melted the statue down and used it to make musket balls to fire back at the British. If you ever seen the movie The Patriot, and Mel Gibson's movie, he does the same with his son's lead tin soldiers to make ammo balls to fire back in his pistol, and I thought that was pretty clever the way they worked that in. But yeah, it was C. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate you playing, buddy. And Neil in Durham, North Carolina, KR4HBQ. Welcome back. And okay, flat tax, or would you prefer a different way to pay your taxes there, Neil?
Good
evening, Alex, Vicky, and everyone else. Greetings from Bull Durham. Since I have a graduate degree in this very subject, at the risk of reading you my dissertation, I'll just say no, I do not support the flat tax.
Hi, Kenny. How's that degree working out for you? Well, I hope. Anyway, your question is, I studied a major that didn't. Well, anyway, I won't go into it. Your question is, in which war was a Christmas truce officially enacted? A Christmas truce? Yep, they had a Christmas truce in this war. Was it World War I, B, World War II, C, the Civil War, or D, the Korean War? When did they have a Christmas truce?
Well, the degree does a great job of decorating my wall and has nothing related to my actual career, so I want to have answered that question. The other one, so I believe World War I don't think there was an official truce, but there was the unofficial truce where they played soccer. I am going to guess World War II, but it is a total whack. Over to you, Alex. This is KR4HBQ. Back to that.
So you mentioned World War I and World War II. Which one are you choosing?
I believe World War I was not an official truce, so I'm choosing World War II.
Alpha India 7 Zulu Mike. Mind if I ask you guys a quick question?
Okay, hang on a second. Let me finish up with Neil here. And it was World War I. It was officially enacted by the German and British troops fighting in Belgium, and they took a break from the hostilities during the week of Christmas in 1914. They exchanged prisoners, gifts, food. They drink wine together and sing Christmas songs. Now, the government didn't sanction it. They certainly didn't want it. It outraged the commanders and the politicians, and truces were banned for the rest of the war because, you can't have people of similar backgrounds and cultures celebrating Christmas together. It's unheard of. But anyway, thanks. Thank you. On the question, go ahead. Somebody had a question. Go ahead. Calling from our people shortly, and you can check it in if you like. Next up is Brian in Monticello, Kentucky, AC4 BR. Brian, flat tax, no flat tax, what would you prefer?
Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and everybody on the net. Well, I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards the folks that say, it's harder on the lower income folks than the higher ones, so I'm going to say probably no. What's my question?
Sorry, guys.
I understand they would
really
stagger it somehow to make it
Alpha India 7 Zulu Mike.
But then there wouldn't be a flat tax, would it? So, yeah. All right, your question is, what ultimately ended the infamous Salem witch trials? What ended it? A, all of the accused witches weighed more than a duck, so they had to dismiss the charges, of course. B, the Salem City Council finally passed a law ending the practice. C, the Salem City Council was accused of discrimination by the witches in England. Or D, the colony's governor ordered an end to the trials after his own wife was accused of witchcraft. I hate when that happens. What do you say, Brian?
That's a good question. I'm not too up on the Salem witch trials. Sounds like it's either B or D. I'm going to go with D, Delta, just for the heck of it. Back to you, Alex, AC4BR.
Brian. You are correct. It was D. What ended the Salem witch trials was the colony's governor ordered an end to them after his own wife was accused of witchcraft. Yeah, Sir William Phipps quickly dropped the trials after the accusation because, well, he would probably hear it, for a long time if his own wife was accused of witchcraft. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Leo, Fort Lauderdale. Hey, welcome back, Leo, K4ITA. We're doing American history tonight, and the question tonight is, what do you think? Do you support it, or would you prefer a different way to pay your taxes here in America?
Good evening, Alex. Good evening, Vicky. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Yeah. And yes, good evening. I'm glad to be back after two busy Saturday. I couldn't make it. Finally, I'm back. To my favorite net. And no, I don't like the flat tax. No, I really don't believe that can work. I actually believe that we should pay a bit more taxes in this country and get more services because of that. Don't shoot me, please. Go ahead, Alex, with the question.
Don't worry, Leo. You're protected by the mafia. No one's going to bother you. You're sorry, Italian stereotype. I apologize. Your question is, all right. Now, Leo, I know you're from Italy, but this is a geography question. I want you to tell me, what would be the first foreign country you would come to traveling due south from Detroit, Michigan? Okay, you're going due south from Detroit. What's the first foreign country you come to? Is it A, Mexico, B, Belize, C, Canada, or D, Florida?
Okay. Yeah, got it. Yeah. By the way, I love like it. the old history, the new history. I really read a lot of books about American history. Anyhow, I believe Canada. Yeah, Detroit. If you go south, I believe it's Canada. Everybody, good night. Thank you, Alex, doing the net. Thank you, Vicky, for doing the net. Good night.
How about that, folks? So who wasn't born here, immigrated here, knows that it's Canada. I think I've asked this question before, and a lot of people miss it. Yeah, if you go due south from Detroit, you hit Canada because, Michigan curves up around there with that horn that it sticks out, and due south of Detroit is Windsor, Ontario. So there you go. Thanks. Thank you, Leo. You got it, buddy. Alvin in Houston, KG5 EGD. Welcome back, Alvin. We're doing American history tonight. Do you support the flat tax, or would you prefer to pay your taxes a different way?
I just don't like the way they're handling taxes at all. I wish they'd come up with a solution that would fit everybody.
You want government to do that, huh? I might be in for a little wait, so hopefully not much longer anyway. Your question is, which type of alcohol is distinctive to the United States? Which one of these? Is it A, moonshine, B, railroad gin, C, near beer, or D, Kentucky bourbon?
I want to say A, but I'm going to say Kentucky bourbon. I believe it's really Kentucky bourbon.
Very good. When most people would say moonshine, but actually moonshine was brought to America in the 18th century by Irish and Scottish immigrants. So, it's Kentucky bourbon. You got it. Not moonshine. Thank you. Thank you, Alvin. Timothy, Tillamook, Oregon. Last time I list KK7XE. Glad you can make it. All right. Questions about the flat tax. You think it's a good idea? You support another way to pay your taxes since we have to one way or another.
This is KK7NXE. Happy to be here. Glad I made it. I'm going to go for pay them a different way.
Got you down for no on the flat tax. Your question is, make sure I do this right. Who wrote this about founding father John Adams? Who wrote this about John Adams? He's a hideous, difficult character, which neither has the force and firmness of a man, nor the gentleness and sensibility of a woman. Who said that about John Adams? Was it A, King George of England, B, Thomas Jefferson, C, Abigail Adams? My wife called me worse things than that. Or D, John Hancock, who made those remarks about John Adams.
I guess I'm stuck between Bravo and Delta, but I will stick with Bravo. So Bravo is my answer, Alex. Final answer. KK7NXV, back to net 73. Have a safe night.
And Bravo is correct. You know, you think political campaigns are bad now with the ads and everything. And that was Thomas Jefferson that said that when he and John Adams were in their political campaigns. So it's kind of hard to top that. I don't think even Trump can top that one. That one. All right, this is W7FT1 with KVKY. You listen to the Serenade TriviaNet on the East Coast Reflector, and we're taking more check-ins to the American History TriviaNet. Full call signs phonetically twice, please.
KK7FQZ, this is Bubba. KK7FQZ, this is Bubba.
VK3 Alpha Whiskey Alpha, VK3AWA.
Kilo Charlie 5, Charlie Zulu X-ray, KC5CZX.
Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie. Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie.
Whiskey Bravo 7, Victor Papa India. Whiskey Bravo, Victor Papa India.
Kilo India 7, Lima Alpha Golf. Kilo India 7, Lima Alpha Golf.
Kilo Bravo 0 Golf Uniform Fox, KV0 GUF.
Kilo India 5 Whiskey Uniform KI5WWU.
Kilo Delta 3 Charlie Uniform Bravo. Kilo Delta 3 Charlie Uniform Bravo.
Kilo Juliet 5, Mike Romeo X-ray. Kilo Juliet 5, Mike Romeo X-ray. Carlton and Axel, Texas.
All right, hold on, let me get caught up here. We'll hold it there. We have joining us Bubba in Towson. How you doing, buddy? KK7FQZ, that's Arizona, of course. Daryl in Paradise Beach, Australia, one of our facilitators. Hello, Daryl, VK3AWA. Daryl in Lubbock, Texas, not one of our facilitators, but anyway, KC5CZX. Bob in Sylvania, Ohio, WD8PIC. Wilt in Gresham, Oregon. How you doing, Wilt? WB7VPI. Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon, KI7LAG. John in South St. Paul, Minnesota. Hello, John, KB0GUF. Lynn, Houston, Texas, KI5WWU. John in Reading, Pennsylvania, K3CUB. And Carlton in Axtell, Texas, KJ5 MRX, the question of the night, do you support the flat tax, or you think it's a bad idea and would prefer a different way? Captain Bubba in Towson, KK7FQZ.
Hello, Alex. This is Bubba, KK7FQZ in Towson, Arizona. Hey, I think the flat tax might work if stages, like 5% for the lower income and 10% and 12%. But I think the biggest way to fix it would be stop all this getting around it, because that way a lot of these rich guys, they get out of it by donating $5 here or $5 there. But let me have my question there, Alex, please. KK7FQZ.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Bubba. If my wife didn't send hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to pet charities, we'd have to pay a fortune. And yes, it seems like she does. Your question is, what is Juan Ponce de Leon credited with discovering? That's Juan Ponce de Leon. Was it A, the founder of youth, B, Florida, C, Detroit, or D, Mexico?
Well, I really don't know, so I'm just going to say see my way out. So we'll try C there, and 73 to everybody, and thank you, Alex. You have a great evening. KK7FQZ.
Thank you, Bubba. Actually, Ponce de Leon found a different mess. It was Florida, not Detroit. Florida. Yes, I don't know if he found. No, he didn't find the founder. He was looking for the founder youth, but instead he found Florida, which is not so much the founder of youth these days. So, by the way, you Florida people in Florida, anytime you want to hit back and be in Arizona, just feel free. This goes both ways. So, I'm making fun of Florida tonight. Thank you, Bubba. I appreciate you being here, buddy. Daryl in Paradise Beach, Australia, VK3AWA. How you doing, Daryl? Okay, what do you think of the flat tax? Are you prefer another way to pay taxes?
Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and listeners. No, I don't agree with it, Alex. I'm assuming that it's trying to be a one-tax-fits-all. It should be indexed to an income stream. Anyway, I'm guessing that's what it is. But my answer is no. Thanks, Alex. Back to you.
Thank you, Daryl. I'm glad you can make it tonight, by the way. Your question is, what is the call sign of the President of the United States helicopter? What's the call sign of his helicopter? Is it A, Marine One, B, Air Force One, C, Chopper One, or D, Trump One, get over it?
I think I'll go for Chopper One, Alex. Back to you.
In the spirit of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think it should be Chopper One. Get into the chopper. That'd be great. But it now is a Marine One. They call the President's helicopter Marine One. It's an American thing. Thank you. Thanks, Gerald. Thanks for playing tonight. Gerald in Lubbock, Texas, KC5CZX. Tell me, Gerald, do you support the flat tax, or would you prefer a different way to pay your taxes?
Well, good evening, Alex and the rest of the net. No, I do not support the flat tax. Not at all. Not a good idea. There might be another version that we can work that, makes it work better, but no. Go ahead with the question.
And got you down for a no flat tax. Your question is, which two leaders are responsible for creating the interstate highway system? Was that A, Herbert Hoover and Governor George Wallace, B, Franklin D. Roosevelt and Benito Mussolini, C. Dwight D. Eisenhower and Adolf Hitler, or C. Charles de Gaulle and Emperor Hirohito. Unlikely combinations, but one of those, I swear to you, is correct.
Well, I do believe that's going to be Charlie because of World War II and Germans' Autobahns. He thought that was a cool idea, so they brought it over to the U.S. KC5CEZX.
And you are, of course, correct. Yeah, in every way there. Yeah, it's the Dwight D. Eisenhower and Adolf Hitler. The Autobahn, as you said, was Hitler's idea to allow civilians and the military to move easily through Germany. And Eisenhower said, hey, that's a good idea. And while we're at it, why don't we bring a bunch of their scientists over and use them in our nuclear program, which is a different question tonight. So thank you. Thank you, Gerald. You got it. Bob in Sylvania, Ohio, WD8PIC. Hello, Bob. You support the flat tax, or would you prefer to pay your taxes a different way?
I'm going to say a different way, and I'm crackly. I'm going to have to change to a different repeater if that continues. Anyway, go on with my question.
So far, so good. So far, so good, Bob. Your question is, what are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution called? A, the strongly worded suggestions. B, the Emancipation Proclamation. C, the Magna Carta. Or D, the Bill of Rights.
My brain's not too good tonight. I'm going to say Delta. I'm sure that's not right, but I know my history, but for some reason my brain's not working too good tonight. Everybody have a great evening, and 6 has been open, and I worked about 10 states with a square loop and 100 watts tonight, so I was having fun. And no, I'm not doing field day. I'm just doing it to make contacts because I just got the antenna back up. Back to net control.
Yeah, very, very cool, Bob. I did do field day earlier. I hope, I responded to a few people doing field day, and Florida, the East Coast was coming in pretty good on 17 and 15 meters. So you're correct. Yeah, it's actually the Bill of Rights. That's the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. So you got it. Thanks for playing, and hope to hear you next week. Over to Wilton Gresham, Oregon, WB7VPI. Wilt. Okay, do you support the flat tax idea, concept, or another way to pay your taxes?
Well, good evening, Alex, and everyone on the net. Yeah, I'm not so sure about the flat tax. I heard someone earlier say, get rid of the loopholes where the ultra-rich can hide it and not pay their fair share. I'd really like some way where we all can pay our own fair share. Taxes help pay for the infrastructure that we all use. I just would be happy with some method that we all pay our own fair share based on what we realistically can pay. Hopefully that makes sense. What's my question?
Yes, here, Wilt. Yeah. It does make sense. Of course, the taxes also pay for wars that we may not want, that are not in the United States' interest, but if they just kept to the infrastructure and the, that would, that's, again, another can of worms for a different net. Your question is, oh, good, I've got a hard one since you're a fellow trivia net host. Here it is. I'm just kidding. This is the next one in the line. Many people believe the story that Betsy Ross created the first American flag, but Continental Congress member Francis Hopkinson was the flag's true creator. He even sent a bill to Congress for the design. What was Hopkinson's fee for creating our flag? A, A, $13. That makes sense. And B, George Washington's autograph. C, a quarter cask of wine. Or D, no taxes to pay for the rest of his life. What did he want for the flag?
Oh, Alex, yeah, you're right. A does make the most sense. But given the question of the day, I'm going to go with Bravo, even if it's wrong. 7-3, W7VPI, back to net control.
N9GMT, N9GMT, on 38 Talker on.
It could have been worth a lot. Actually, Francis Hopkinson, the flag's true creator, sent a bill to Congress for the design, and he wanted to see a quarter cask of wine. A quarter cask of wine, a man after my own heart. Thank you. Thank you, Will. I don't think wine is that hard to come by. He just is being reasonable, I think. Patrick, Beaverton, Oregon, KI7LAG. Hey, support the flat tax theory, or another way should we pay our taxes? Say you.
Good evening, Alex. This is Patrick, KI7LAG. My answer is no, because, again, they're always going to find a way to mess it up. Go ahead with your question.
Well, come on. They don't mess up everything. They didn't mess up... No, that wouldn't... They didn't mess up the... No, that's a bad example. Oh, never mind. Your question is, Founding Father Benjamin Franklin, among many other things, was also A, a pharmacist, B, an astrologer, C, a ladies' underwear collector, or D, a kite maker.
Oh, gosh. Well, we all know Ben was a party animal. I'm going to go with C, Charlie, KI7LAG, back to net.
I'll be honest with you, Patrick. You're correct. And as far as knowing that he did that, I'm not sure. He probably did, so I'll have to give that one to you. But the answer we're going for is a pharmacist. Yeah, he was also a pharmacist. How would you like to have a drug or a compound compound prescription made by Ben Franklin? That'd be interesting. John, South St. Paul, Minnesota, KB0GUF. You support the flat tax idea, or would you prefer another way to pay your taxes?
Well, good evening, Alex, Vicki, everyone on the Trivia Net tonight. Everybody have a safe and happy 4th of July. As the father of two sons of the American Revolution, I would have to say that I would prefer a flat sales tax, and I haven't heard that mentioned, but it probably wouldn't work.
By changing it, or it'd be good and fair, but still. Yeah. Okay, your question is, who said, if a law is unjust, a man is not only right to disobey it, he is obligated to do so? Was that A, Hunter Biden, B, Wyatt Earp, C, Thomas Jefferson, or D, Pope John Paul VII?
Well, I think that was an easy question with all the choices. I'm going to go with Jefferson on that one. Thanks again for having me. Everybody have a good 4th of July. 7-3. KB0GUF, back to net.
I couldn't get you to go on Hunter Biden, huh? Yeah, it's right. Thomas Jefferson, you got it. See, he does come up a lot in these questions, so yeah. If a law is unjust, a man is not only right to disobey it, he is obligated to do so. How's that for radicalism back in the early founding of the country? Thank you, John. Lynn in Houston, KI5WWU, you support the flat tax idea anyway, or another way to pay taxes?
It's ringing interesting net as always. KI5WW Lynn in Houston. No, and the reason is its proponents of the flat tax focus on the simplicity of a rate, but they don't focus on the base. Any tax is a multiplication of the rate times the base, but then we sort of figure out that maybe it's not so flat after all, because as a lot of other people have said, well, people with 30,000 of income don't know this, and then we got another layer and another layer. So it really isn't flat. So that's my story. Answer is no. Back to you, sir. KI5WWU.
Them to actually explain that wouldn't work. Your question is, what was the original intent behind the Electoral College? The original intent behind the Electoral College was A, to ensure equal state representation, B, to filter popular will through informed electors, C, to keep ignorant people from voting, or D, to confuse future generations of Americans who know nothing about how our government works. What was the original intent behind the Electoral College?
Excellent question, sir, with even better answers. I will go with Alpha. Thanks again, and back to you, KI5WWU.
And although that what it did partially, as far as ensure equal state representation, the original intent was to filter popular will through informed electors, therefore people that knew the system better and could decide. You know, they still do it to this day. They try to change the system, and they don't want the Electoral College there. But again, that, of course, the states that don't have that many people, or smaller states, wouldn't get equal representation if they didn't. Everything would be decided by New York, California, and Chicago. That is shudder to think about that. Thank you. And John in Reading, Pennsylvania, KD3CUB. All right, you support that flat tax idea, or would you prefer a different way?
Yeah, I don't believe in the, hold on, I'm talking in that. I don't believe in the flat tax. We should just do the barter system. That's the way to go. But yeah, KD3QB.
Thank you, John. Got you down for knowing that one. And your question is, which state was the first one to secede from the Union during the Civil War? Was that A, South Carolina, B, Georgia, C, Kentucky, or D, New Jersey when they ran out of pizza?
Did I hear them again? I didn't hear them.
Okay, one more time. Let's see, in case you didn't hear it. Which state was the first to secede from the Union? Was it South Carolina, Georgia, Kentucky, or New Jersey when they ran out of pizza?
I'm going with A. I'm not sure.
No, you got it. Yeah, it was South Carolina was the first one to secede from the Union, and well, the rest is history. So thank you, John. And finally on the list, Carlton in Axtell, Texas, KJ5, MRX. Welcome back. And okay, we're talking about the flat tax tonight. Do you support the idea of a flat tax? would you prefer a different way to pay your taxes? Carlton, are you still with us? KJ5MRX.
Yes, I'm here, KJ5MRX, Carlton and Axtell. I do support a flat tax, with the caveat that it never go over 3%, and if the government can't suffice on that, then they just need to downsize.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. Thank you. Carlton, your question is, what landmark decision did the U.S. Supreme Court make in 1954? Talking about the Supreme Court 1954 decision. Was it A, Brown versus Board of Education, B, Roe versus Wade, C, Kramer versus Kramer, or D, Ali versus Frazier?
Go with A.
Yeah, but Ali versus Frazier, that was some fight. It was A. Yeah, you're right. Brown versus Board of Education was a decision made in 1954, ending school segregation, which gave us Arkansas and Governor Wallace, and anyway, well, all part of history. Thank you. And this is W7F team along with K8VKY. You're listening to the Serenade Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector. Taking more check-ins still. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Kilo Golf 5, India Golf, Kilo KG5, IGK, Houston, Texas. Kilo India 7, Hotel Uniform Bravo. Kilo India 7, Hotel Uniform Bravo, Lee in Germany.
Kilo Juliet 5, Bravo Lima Victor. Kilo Juliet 5, Bravo Lima Victor.
Okay, we'll hold it there. Picked up three more. For the net, we have Paul in Houston, Texas, KG5IGK. Welcome to the net, Paul. We have Lee in Sun Lakes, Arizona. Hey there, Lee. I see you're out here, stationed out here for a while at KI7HUB. Bill in Pasadena, Texas, KJ5 and BLV. And the question of the night is, what's about the flat tax? You support the idea of a flat tax, or would you prefer a different way to pay your taxes? Paul in Houston, KG5IGK.
I want to start by saying I really appreciate your dedication. And I was going to go back to
Paul, you keep jumping out of the repeater. If you can boost your power somehow. We only got part of that as far as the question of the night. What was your answer again?
My answer was no, I'm not a proponent of it. Sorry I got such a weak signal.
Okay, no problem. That time we heard you just fine. So your question is, what was the main purpose of the Federalist Papers? We're doing American history tonight. What was the main purpose of the Federalist Papers? Was it A, to start a nationwide debate on which type of government works best? And B, to convince everyone that federalism was better than statism? C, to promote the ratification of the U.S. Constitution. Or D, when the Constitution absolutely positively had to be there overnight. What was the main purpose of the Federalist Papers?
I'm guessing I'm going to say Bravo.
Well, that was a lot better than the other choices, but actually we're looking for C. The Federalist Papers was to promote the ratification of the U.S. Constitution, and that's what they were pushing them for. And thanks for playing, buddy. Hope to hear you next Saturday night. And next we're going to Lee in Sun Lakes, Arizona, KI7HUB, and I may have heard you on the Sun Lakes net the other night, Lee. I'm not sure, but do you support the flat tax, or would you prefer a different way to pay taxes?
First of all, this is Kilo India 7, Hotel Uniform Bravo, Delta Oscar 7, Hotel Uniform Bravo, my German call sign. My name is Lee, Lima Echo Echo, and I am in Hanover, Germany. If you look at the bottom of my page, it says maintained by Delta Oscar 7, Hotel Uniform Bravo. So I am in Germany at this time. Actually, what I would support is that the people for the last 5 years who have made large amounts of money with insider trading to have to forfeit all that money to support our system and health care in the United States to begin with. And then when that money is gone or used properly, then go to a flat rate system. The other colleague said, Kilo India 7, Hotel Uniform Bravo, Lee in Germany.
Well, first off, Lee, thank you for checking in from Germany. I think it's the first time we've had a station in Europe, at least that far over, check in. The British don't like this net for some reason. I can't understand why. Must be all the royalty jokes I do, but glad you could make it, and yeah, very cool. Yeah, I did look up your KRZ page after you said that. So anyway, your question is a good point you made, by the way. I'm going to give you a presidential Secret Service code name. You're going to tell me, the president. I'm going to give the president. You're going to tell me what his code name was. Okay, what was the presidential Secret Service code name for Joe Biden? What did they call Joe Biden? They're talking to each other on the little wrist radios. Was it A, Autopin, B, Hunter, C, Celtic, or D, Wanderer?
Actually, I want to say Sleepy Joe, but that's not appropriate. I believe it would be Wanderer, Kilo India 7, Hotel Uniform Bravo.
Well, because these are Secret Service code names, I'm supposed to know them. Of course, it's after the fact, so it's hard. It was Celtic. They called him Celtic. Now, he claims to be Irish, but the Biden family's original last name is Robinette, which is not Irish, but nonetheless, they called him Celtic. Thanks. Thank you for playing. We hope to hear you next Saturday night. And Gerardo in Pasadena, Texas, is last on the list, KG5. BLV, all right, what do you think of the flat tax? You support it, or are you against it?
Hey, good evening, Alex. Thank you for doing the net. We're about to cut off this repeater, usually at midnight our time, so I'll be quick. Yes, I support it in theory, but knowing our government, it probably wouldn't work. But, yeah, ready for the question.
Okay, I got another one of these presidential Secret Service code names. What do they call George W. Bush? What did the Secret Service call George W. Bush? Was it A, Trailblazer, B, Trail Finder, C, Trail Mix, or C, Trailer Trash?
Alex, I'm going to go with Alpha on that one. Alpha. Have a great evening. Thank you so much. 73 KJ5, Bravo Lima Victor.
Come on, folks. It's just a joke. I don't think badly of George W. But Trailblazer, you are correct. You got it. Thank you. Thank you, Gerardo. All right, that's the end of my call is. And one more time, full call sign phonetically twice. We'll get you in the Trivia Net with a American history question.
Kilo Quebec 4,
Oscar, November. Kilo, Quebec 4, Oscar, Quebec, November.
Kilo 7, Papa Charlie Hotel. Kilo 7, Papa Charlie Hotel.
And we have picked up Dusty in Orlando, KQ4OQN. Welcome back. And Michael in Green Valley, Arizona. Welcome back to you, Michael. Thanks, guys. You put us over 59. I appreciate that. And as my lease is about to expire here on the East Coast Reflector, I probably wrap it up after you guys. So we'll make this the last. Dusty, question of the night. Do you support the flat tax or another way to pay your taxes?
Flat tax sounds cool, but, I'd really just want them to stop putting stuff in the water that makes frogs gay.
They wouldn't do that. They use chemtrails for that. Your question, Dusty, is which U.S. president signed the Alien and Seditions Act in 1798? Alien and Sedition Act in 1798. Was it A, John Adams, B, George Washington, C, Andrew Jackson, or D, Benjamin Franklin, because he thought it involved space travel? What do you say?
I'll go with Alpha, Alex. Thanks for running the net.
Very good, Dusty. You know your history. It was John Adams. The Alien Sedition Acts in 1798 was a set of 4 U.S. statutes that sought, on national security grounds, to restrict immigration and limit First Amendment protections for freedom of speech. They were endorsed by the Federalist Party of President John Adams in a response to a dispute with the French Republic and related fears of a domestic political subversion. So it's been going on a while. Thank you, Dusty. Michael in Green Valley, KK7 PCH, your last tonight. Tell us, do you support the flat tax, at least in theory, or another way to pay your taxes?
I'm negative on the flat tax, and I'm ready for my question.
Seems that no has been the overwhelming winner on that flat tax. So, during the Pennsylvania campaign in the Civil War, the Confederates successfully stalled McClellan's advance on Richmond by doing this. A, continuously charging the front line with bayonets. B, marching soldiers in a circle all day, so it looked like a constant stream of reinforcements were arriving. C, using prostitutes to distract the Yankees. Or D, putting up a booth and charging 5 cents per horse to pass. What do they do? What did the Confederates do to stall McClellan's advance on Richmond?
Oh, that's funny. That's a good one. I'm going to go with B.
Yeah, can you believe that? They marched the soldiers in a circle all day, so it looked like they were getting a constant stream of reinforcements, and it was just a ruse, which gave them time for actual reinforcements to arrive and save Richmond from the Yankees. Thank you, Michael in Greenville. You got it, buddy. Okay, let's see how we did tonight.
JK7FQZ.
Yeah, we'll take another check-in. And JK7FQZ or KK7. Oh, did you have a comment?
Yeah, Alex. Alex. I was just hoping you'd give me a little information on this net, because I'd like to come back and visit you again. I think it started at 8 p.m., but please fill me in there real quick.
Hey, there, thanks, Robert. I know you joined the American History Net we were doing on the West Valley. So, 8 o'clock until daylight savings times, and then 9 o'clock, because, we don't observe that. And until then, 8 o'clock Saturday night. So, you're welcome to come by anytime.
Thank you, Alex. You have a great evening, and 73 to everybody. This is KK7FQZ from Tucson, Arizona.
All right, well, we had 51 check-ins tonight. Thanks to everybody who put us over 50. Appreciate that. And, boy, this was a challenging net. We had 25 people got their questions correct, and 23 people missed their questions, so it's almost an even split. At 52% correct to about 47, 48% wrong. And as far as the question of the night, do you support the flat tax or another way to pay your taxes? And most people said no to the flat tax. There's a few maybes. 31 people said no. 14 people said yeah. Maybe 2%, and a different way, about 2%. So that one went mostly no. 66% to 29%. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody who participated. The East Coast Reflector has many interesting nets during the week. For more information, please visit eastreflector.com and select the Nets tab on the main page. We are now returning control of the ECR back to normal amateur use at 10:07 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, or 5:07 a.m. UTC. Until next week at the same time, the control voice will take you to the Saturday night trivia. 7:30. Good night. W7 FTM Clear.